Hey everyone, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. I am being joined by the NoDQ panel tonight, represented by good old JM Jeff Meacham, long NoDQ contributor, as well as relatively new contributor Virtue, and longtime fan, now a contributor, Greg Cherry. So, Great Balls of Fire, hashtag WWE Balls just concluded. I wanted to note that even though it did not trend worldwide, which disappointed me, we did get a lot of famous Twitter accounts, including ESPN's WWE Twitter account, using the hashtag WWE Balls. I thought that was awesome. So for me, that's a small victory. If ESPN,
small victories are the key.
If ESPN uses that hashtag, I consider that a victory. I am happy with that. So overall, I thought that this was a fine pay-per-view. I enjoyed it, especially the big angle with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. So real quick before we get to the matches, just wanted to get your guys' overall thoughts, initial reaction to the show. Virtue, we'll start with you, and then Greg, and then Jeff.
Well, looking at the card, I had very, very high expectations for it. And I watched it, and it delivered. I will not give my grade until the end, but I was absolutely, positively entertained the entire time. Greg?
See, this is by far the best of the B pay-per-views this year, easily. It blows them all out of the water. It actually might beat, out WrestleMania. Like, it was that good. Because WrestleMania was kind of an ass show for what it was. I think this one topped it as far as an entertainment value. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, it's funny. We're asking about the overall first because our good buddy Peter Rosenberg, who is quite possibly a bigger mark than any of the four of us, said on the pre-show that this is arguably the greatest card going in since WrestleMania. I will say that like Greg said, for what it was, this show delivered leaps and bounds more than WrestleMania did as a whole show. This show was good from pre-show all the way till the end. The finish, like you said, surprised me. But other than that, it was a solid show. I'll give my grade later as Virtue well. And it was just a really great show. I think Greg's prediction might hold true as far as being better than WrestleMania overall this year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Go ahead. I wanted to mention real quick, I had some of my non-wrestling fan buddies that have access to WWE Network. They were texting me all night about things that were happening. I never get that. Well, see, that's WWE's goal. They want to draw in the casual people, and they did it tonight, like you said, Virtue.
Yeah. So we had the kickoff match, which was Neville versus Tozawa. I thought that this was fine, for a kickoff match. I thought it was pretty good. Neville won with the assistance of the crotch spot where Tozawa got crotch. So, this is Great Balls of Fire after all. So you have to have a ball spot, right? You had Tozawa getting crotched on the ropes, and Neville kicked the ropes and then pinned him. So that was kind of interesting. What did you guys think of the match? Any thoughts? We'll start with you, Greg, and then Jeff, and then Virtue.
Well, just because you said the ball spot, I'm kind of glad Payne's not on this panel.
Yeah. Wow. I am the only person that has not seen it yet, and I'm eternally grateful for it.
Yeah, well, I turned my head at the right moment, so I haven't seen it. So
wow,
we'll leave that as is.
Yes,
love you, Payne. Don't worry.
Yes.
That said, I thought it was kind of a weird finish for the Cruiserweight title match. It was actually kind of a weak finish because he just did a spinning back kick after he kicked the ropes, and that was it. It was that kind of doesn't exactly bury Tozawa, but it wasn't exactly the strongest finish. I would like to see the Rings of Saturn or something of the like to finish it off. It was kind of a weird finish for me, but a good match overall.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, they're trying to make Neville be this strong, dominant cruiserweight, and he finishes with as Aaron said, a ball shot, and then not a weak kick, but for a finish, it was a weak kick. And now we've got Tozawa, complaining in his own way that he deserves a rematch and telling Titus to get it done, which is great. It's a good angle to build off of, but a sad finish to build off of, if that makes any sense. Virtue?
It was a solid kickoff show match. I'm looking down here at my notes, and I enjoyed the couple Tozawa dives. He looked like a kamikaze, no pun intended.
Yep.
Real big energy. A lot of guys that do those dives, they do it like it's just part of the routine. He actually made the facial expressions crazy. I love Titus. He reminds me of Slick.
Yes.
I want to see more managers in wrestling. So I was entertained by this. It wasn't the best match in the world. I love Neville, man. I mean, he's tough. I hope they can find a legit opponent to actually maybe take the title from him.
Ain't going to be Austin Aries.
Yeah. Wow.
But, I mean, I liked it.
The only problem I see with Virtue, with Titus being a manager, he's got the Dallas Page syndrome. He's taller than his clients.
I know.
That is
way bigger, way taller.
The thing about Jimmy Hart was he was so tiny, so, he worked fine as a manager. But when the manager towers over the guy he's managing, it does hurt a little bit, I think.
That could be the gimmick, though. We've never seen that before, so make that the gimmick,
Well, see, Jimmy was tiny, and Bobby was a tough guy when he was a wrestler to a certain point, but he was such a little weasel. It's like, God, you just want to see him get beat up, and everybody like, okay, wait, there's Andre. Never mind, I'll back off.
He does not look like a weasel. What are you talking about?
I do not have.
Does he have a tail?
Does he have fur on his body? That's right.
He does not. What are you thinking, Jeff?
I am so sad to this day he cannot speak. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But anyways,
man. I mean, I know we're going on a tangent here, but Bobby Heenan.
We are being old people looking back in the past and
going off in the weeds here, as Xbox says on his show.
Well, back in my day.
But it's because we see some of the elements, like maybe they're attempting to do that they used to do. Maybe that's why I bring that up,
Well, Titus is very much a slick style character, and he's got that whole Doctor of Style thing going for him, so it may work.
All right, so let's move on to the main card now. We have Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. I personally do not have much to say about this match. I thought it was technically good, but I was bored. I was having a lot of trouble getting into it. Bray Wyatt won with a thumb to the eye and then hit the Sister Abigail. Whatever. I mean, it was just a match for me. Nothing special whatsoever. So, Jeff, we'll start with you, and then Virtue, and then Greg.
Yeah, and not much to say. I mean, put it this way. I knew I was going to have to be on the show with you guys tonight, so I made sure I had a 5-hour energy at the ready. I chugged it during this first match. I was like, oh, the whole show's like this. I'm going to fall asleep. So, boom. And now I'm like wide awake, and here we go. But, the finish was very weak. The match itself was technically good, like you said, Riff, but the finish was like, okay, I get he's a bad guy. Really, a thumb to the eye in the finish? Okay.
Virtue?
What I like to take away from it is Bray Wyatt got a victory, and Aaron claims that he's 100 and 400. And I actually had somebody on Twitter that pulled up his statistics, and I think it counts house shows. He's won 61% of his matches.
Well, somebody
I'm glad
tweeted
that Wyatt got the win. I mean,
somebody
I know it's fake,
tweeted out that he lost like 400 matches since he came into WWE.
No, but it was a solid opener. The crowd actually was into it a little bit. I mean, it definitely wasn't a show stealer. I was looking at my notes. So Rollins continues to sell the knee, but yet can pull off every high spot imaginable, and the knee doesn't hurt. So I just wish I could see some more Kurt Hennig type old school selling the whole match the right way. So I was a little upset with Rollins, but that's his shtick. He continues to do that. What do you think, Greg?
See, I'll admit something. I was kind of watching this match and Big Brother at the same time because, I saw the match. I was like, Big Brother, because I'm a big fan of that show too. So I was like, So I might have missed a couple things, but I think I got the gist of it. And it was nothing special. It was just a standard match between the two. Nothing to really take home. And it's sad because they're both entertaining. And I wonder if those loss statistics include his time as Husky Harris, if that was included. If it's just the Bray Wyatt character, I could actually probably still buy that because he loses so freaking much.
It's 61% win. I'm telling you.
If you go by pay-per-view matches alone, Virtue, it's got to be way ratioed in the negative. It's got to be.
We'll get that stat. I don't know what it is right now, but we'll see what it is.
I will present it on Talk Wrestling Anniversary this weekend. There you go. Next weekend.
I know the guy to ask.
Yeah, cheap plug for Jeff. Cheap plug for Jeff.
Yes.
We have the 10-year anniversary of Talk Wrestling coming up this week. NoDQ.com. Subscribe if you haven't already at youtube.com/AaronRiffNoDQ. Hopefully you guys will subscribe and check that out. Go back and watch Talk Wrestling #1 when he talked about Nancy Grace and the whole Chris Benoit thing. That was quite the video.
I have gotten so many questions on Twitter alone about what do you feel about Nancy Grace now? It's like one word, still 2 words, still dipshit. So there you go.
You know what? I watch Good Morning America in the morning. I watch Good Morning America, and they bring her in as a guest panelist sometimes, and as soon as she appears, click onto the next clip.
Yeah, it's like I don't even understand why this person still has a job. Like she's so extremist. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Who's Nancy Grace?
Exactly.
All right.
By the way, we've mentioned Slick, Bobby Heenan, and now Mr. Perfect. Are we showing our gray hair or what, people? I'm just throwing it out there.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
I got some up here.
They actually did reference the Rockers for the Enzo and Cass match. They brought
Rosenberg did. You're right. That's right.
Yeah, they brought up how they compared it to when Shawn Michaels threw Marty Jannetty through the window. Or excuse me, when Marty Jannetty tried to escape.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Jannetty tried to
was running for his life.
Yeah, what an act of cowardism.
Oh, terrible.
I was going to say, and this is going to show my age too. That was 25 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we are getting old. We are getting old.
Next.
Yes.
Moving right along, as
right.
I would say.
So yeah, we do have a match to talk about here. So basically, to sum it up, Enzo came out, cut a promo, and talked about how they debuted together in Dallas, a little over a year ago. Big Cass came out with a new Timetron, a new theme song. Now, maybe it'll grow on me, but first time hearing it, wasn't impressed. It wasn't like Bobby Roode or Nakamura, where the first time I heard it, I knew it was going to be a hit song. It felt like somebody even said it was like a WWE 2K18 generic theme song.
I saw that.
Yeah. And Enzo's promo, it felt like that was as long as the match. I mean, it was basically just Big Cass beating up Enzo, and it was almost a squash match. I mean, it was really one-sided. So we'll start with you, Virtue, and then Jeff, and then Greg. Your thoughts on the match?
I love the promo, as I always do. Enzo is trying his hardest to make Big Cass a star. Now, I was actually talking with Jeff in the message about how I thought that was going to turn into a squash match before it happened because of the way it was playing out. I don't know, something about Cass tonight. It's like he didn't have everything I thought he would have for going over in a squash match. It's like it was missing something, and I guess my expectations are really high because I'm just loving this angle right now. But I was a little off put by Cass's emotion, but I think Enzo did everything he was supposed to, taking the beating, obviously. So that's what I thought.
Yeah. Like I said, we were talking about that, Virtue, in the chat. It wasn't a normal squash match, but it was still very much. It was one-sided. Enzo got like maybe 2 punches in, and then Cass just beat the dog out of him. For a first outing to this feud, it was okay. Cass looked like the big, strong, 7-foot dude that he is, but like Aaron said, presentation is key in this business, and the music and the Tron was just like, eh. So, solid win, but not solid outing. Greg?
See, think of when Seth Rollins first came out to his generic-sounding entrance theme for the first time, post breaking off with the Shield. Everybody was like, they'll probably get that changed in a couple months, and 3 years later, he's still coming out to it. So
maybe he needs a change.
I mean, maybe it'll grow on us also. But, I was hoping for a little bit more from Enzo. I hope he's not just squashed and, moved down the card to the point of obscurity, because he's probably one of the best promo guys in the business. And this feud has really showed that, because for a while he was kind of put back a little and his promos were weird, but now they're really good again. So I'm hoping that something good happens with Enzo and he doesn't look like a complete doofus all the time.
Somebody sent me I was talking with a friend of mine back at Michigan, not Dave, about this match, and she sent me a little gif, or whatever you call it, of Carmella, Enzo, and Cass. Like, God, I missed that trio. Wouldn't it be awesome if they either had them all together, or maybe
Cat Carmella? Who cares what you have to say, Jeff? The cat's in the shot.
The hell of what the professor has to say. The cat's in the shot, so I'm just going to be quiet now. No. I would love for Carmella to just drop Ellsworth like a bad habit and reunite with Cass. That'd be something.
Yeah.
Greg, what's your cat's name again?
Mr. Fluffity.
Mr. Fluffity. Oh, my God. Remember Mr. Fluffity.
Well, my goodness. He just boosted the ratings for this video up 100%.
Fluffity.
He's like the opposite of David Payne showing his balls. This is what's going to give us all the likes and the thumbs ups.
Is it Puffity or Fluffity? I forget.
Fluffity.
Fluffity. Fluffity.
Fluffity. There we go. Okay.
There you go. Little Mr. Kennedy reference there.
Yes.
Or Mr. Anderson, if you.
Yeah. All right. So.
If you watch the other show.
Yeah. Well, he's not on it anymore. He's been gone for a while.
But he was.
Yeah. All right. So we got the 30-minute Iron Man match, Cesaro versus the Hardys. It was down to 3-3. Who predicted 3-3 or 3-4? Did any of us predict that when we did the predictions?
I wasn't on. I just called Cesaro winning in the chat, but
yeah, I figured they would win here. So basically, what happened was Jeff hit the Swanton on Sheamus, but Cesaro ran over. Cesaro was apparently the legal man. I wasn't sure exactly.
No, he was.
He was. Okay, so he was. Cesaro pinned Jeff after Jeff hit the Swanton on Sheamus, and then the time ran out, so Cesaro won 4-3. Matt got busted open the hard way at one point during this match, and this would be the start. We had a lot of blood on this show, maybe the most blood on a WWE pay-per-view in a long time. So I thought this was a good match. I mean, pretty slow the first 25 minutes, but the last 5 minutes it really picked up. I was entertained by it, and we'll see what happens if the Hardys continue to move in that broken direction. I mean, they really didn't indicate anything one way or another. We'll start with you, Greg, your thoughts, and then Virtue and Jeff.
See, I missed the first couple minutes of the match. I saw the opening brogue kick for them to go up 1-0. But from what I saw of the match, it was good. I mean, you can't expect anything less from the Hardys and Cesaro.
Yep.
They put on a great match. And I don't know if anybody else caught this, but I thought the referee counted 3 for one of the Hardys' falls that wasn't counted or something when Cesaro made the save. I could have sworn
Cesaro made the save, but I swear above anything that he hit 3 before Cesaro jumped in there. I saw that too.
Yeah, I saw comments about that. So maybe they'll play that up on television and the Hardys will get another shot.
If they're smart, they will.
Yeah.
Maybe, but again, what babyface tag teams are there left? Heath Slater and Rhino aren't exactly going to be challenging at SummerSlam. And they're running out of gimmick matches for the Hardys and Cesaro to do unless they're going to do a final deletion with them.
First blood.
Well, maybe.
Might as well hear it tonight.
Yeah. But I think it was another solid outing, and we'll see what happens at SummerSlam, I guess.
I love this match. This was where the show really started turning to, like, really good for me. And my buddies were texting me the whole 30 minutes, and we were kind of talking. We thought it had really, really good time management, especially at the end. Usually it's tough on these type of matches, and it just seems like it drags out. I remember looking up at the TV. It was 23 minutes left, and I was into whatever was going on, and I looked up, and it was 10 minutes left. So I loved it. I thought it was good. Great finish, how it came down to the end. I absolutely loved the Swanton. Hardy landed it, but then I believe it was Cesaro that came in and made that tough, like, real-life pin, like a shoot pin, and that was the difference. I absolutely enjoyed this match.
Couldn't agree with everybody more. Great match. Interesting. Greg pointed out the pin that wasn't, so hopefully they'll play it up. And, great match. Great, easily flowing 30 minutes. More so than most Iron Man matches that start out with falls and then drag. This was solid from start to finish. All 30 minutes. It was really good.
Right like on. A 7-game series, 7 falls.
It was. It was great.
Yeah, somebody thought, what's that whole 3-1
Yeah,
deal?
That's what my buddy was saying.
Yeah, people were saying that was going to happen. I mean, Sheamus is going to be doing a movie soon, so he's going to be gone. They may do a title change pretty soon. I'm not sure if the Hardys win the titles back or if something's going to happen, but we'll see what happens if they keep the feud going or if it ends soon. Who knows?
Well, those that are sports fans always, talk about people coming back from a 3-1 deficit. The Hardys did that tonight. It was an awesome Game 7 there at the very end, like everybody was talking about on TV. Just a great outing. And, if the Hardys don't win it back when Sheamus leaves, who does? That's the question.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they turn a team, maybe Revival, become baby faces. Who knows? So next up, we had Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title. I really enjoyed this match. I mean, I thought this might have even been better than the Iron Man match. I thought they worked really well together. Alexa did her double jointed trick with her arm to trick Sasha, and the announcers thought it was the first time they ever saw it, which is funny, which means they do not watch SmackDown live because she did.
Well, nor do I, because I missed it too.
Yeah. So that was good, and I enjoyed the match. It did end with a count out, which I have mixed feelings on. But in this case, I thought it was okay. I wasn't too upset about it. After the match, Sasha attacked Alexa and did her double knees off the announce table, and that's scary. She's gonna mess up her knees doing that spot, I think, if she keeps doing it, especially onto the concrete like that. I don't know if that's the best thing to be doing on a regular basis, but anyways, I did enjoy the match. I liked the post-match angle to keep the feud going. You know, the fact that they had a very solid match, I'm all for seeing a rematch and seeing this feud continue at SummerSlam. You know, Bayley's got nothing going on right now, so they might as well just do something with Sasha and Alexa and see where it goes. So we'll start with you, Jeff, and then Greg, and then Virtue.
Yeah, just a great match. And, you know, people were complaining to me on Twitter about the bogus finish, but Virtue made a very good point. Bobby Heenan always counted the heels, counted losses as a victory for the heels. So the heels were undefeated tonight, almost to the very end of the show. So, you know, it was a great heel tactic by Alexa to get Canada out and retain her championship. But the match all the way up to that was just unbelievable. It wasn't the best women's match I've seen, but it was definitely one of the best this year. And, you know, gotta give Greg props for picking Sasha at the very beginning of her career to be one of the best. She is an amazing contender. I wouldn't call her a great champion yet, but she's an awesome contender, and I definitely see a rematch at SummerSlam.
Greg?
See, she was a great champion in NXT.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, her 6-month reign, and finished off with probably the greatest women's match I've ever seen, which I know you hold Charlotte and Natalia to a high level.
But I totally concede that Bayley and Sasha was the greatest match everybody but me is saying. How about that?
Okay. And like I predicted on the prediction show, like the build up for it wasn't great, but I was like, you know what? I see these two tearing it up, and that's exactly what they did. And I'm so proud of Sasha and Alexa because they are my two personal favorites in the company right now as far as the women's division goes. So to see them have such an excellent match and the fact that they're going to continue this feud, I personally love it. What do you think, Virtue?
So Sasha got the win, Greg. We got that, even though she didn't win the title, so I guess we get it half correct. So we think about the 4 horsewomen, and at the time, nobody ever really talked about Alexa Bliss. And I like something about her. I think I'm going to cry. She is absolutely unbelievable. She has become my favorite main roster woman wrestler, and her heel tactics throughout the match, just the little nuances, the facial expressions, it was incredible. And I actually was entertained by Sasha. To me, I kind of she slipped away from me. Maybe it was the booking the last couple months. And tonight, it's like Sasha Banks was back, in that big role. And I hope going forward we get a big match out of them at SummerSlam. That's what I'm thinking.
You know, 2 of the biggest steals of the supplemental draft, if we go back last year to when they were doing the supplemental draft on the network, 2 of the biggest steals, Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman.
Oh, yes.
Both completely outperformed being a secondary draft pick, not picked on that SmackDown show. So, good for both of them.
Yeah, Virtue, you mentioned that Alexa's your favorite main roster women wrestler.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna surprise a lot of people here, but I'm gonna say Alexa's my favorite performer on the main roster, period, either show right now.
Nice.
She's doing everything with her championship reign that they should have done with Charlotte as the only Raw women's champion, not the whole championship, but just the Raw. Charlotte should have been the dominant queen that she said she was for over a year, and Alexa is being the goddess that she is claiming to be. She is being incredible, and she is outshining everybody on SmackDown right now. No question about that.
Yeah, and I do not think any of us mentioned that Canadian Destroyer sunset flip powerbomb. That was a pretty cool moment.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I thought it looked really good.
It made Amazing Red very happy.
Oh, definitely. Yes. So moving on here, we have The Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the IC title. You had the Miz-tourage out there. This was, I thought, very standard, very by the numbers, and pretty predictable with the interference from the Miz-tourage. Ambrose held his own as much as possible, but in the end, it wasn't enough. The numbers game caught up to him, and Miz won with a skull-crushing finale. I thought it was just okay. I'm hoping the feud is over now. I think part of the problem is I just did not care about this match. So, Jeff, your thoughts, and then Virtue, and then Greg.
I decided I'm calling the Miz-tourage the social nexus. That's what I'm calling him for the rest of my life. Because
like
Social Outcast meets the Nexus. There you go.
I think the name is dumb. I think Miztourage is dumb. They should have just called it Entourage or come up with
Miztourage is stupid because they played off so bad how much they disliked Jeremy Piven's appearance at SummerSlam, and here we go with Entourage again. Like, really? It's stupid. Yeah. So social Nexus. Yeah, I didn't like any. It was not I didn't like the match. It was, like you said, a very, very standard, by the book heel tactics retaining the Intercontinental Championship, a la the great Intercontinental Championship, the Honky Tonk Man, and Perfect and everybody. It was very, very much the manager, the valet, the secondary, whatever you want to call him, won the match for the champion. And it's not a bad situation that it happens, because sometimes heels got to cheat to win. That's how heels are supposed to be. Miz is the most effective male heel they've got right now on Raw, and he's showing that time and time again, because as much as you want to cheer for him as the cool rebellious fans that want to cheer the bad guys, he's a little poop head. You can't deal with his nonsense. What do you think, Virtue?
Great bloody balls of fire. So what's our blood count, right? Because Ambrose's mouth got busted open. Was this the second blood or the third by now? Okay.
Second blood. The second blood.
Yeah. So, to me, this is where I'm starting to feel, and this might have been accidental stuff, but I'm starting to get a little Attitude Era feeling tonight. And that's why I said my buddies were texting me all night. Ambrose was doing the whole knee thing again. He was a little better at it than Rollins. Right. I like The Miz. The Miz needed to keep the belt. The Miztourage, whatever you want to call it, going forward. It's going to be good times. I just hope, especially Aaron hopes, that they don't have Ambrose and Miz anymore. I'm going to call Finn Balor. I'm going to call Finn Balor up next for Miz, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that seems like a logical choice. They did chant.
This was the worst match on the card, but I'm not saying it was horrible. It was like a Raw match.
Yeah,
right.
That's saying how much I enjoyed tonight's show.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see if Balor shows up. The crowd did chant for him during the bonus match, but we'll get to that in a few minutes here. So we have Roman Reigns.
Greg never gave his thoughts at all on the match. Right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Greg, thanks, Rift. I have the ratings right here, and
I know, right? My bad.
We're just mesmerized by the cat. We can't even talk to Greg. We're just mesmerized by his cat.
Oh wait, we got the dog in here.
We got the dog on too.
Jeez, this is becoming Animal Planet now.
Well, in that case, Betsy, come here. Come here.
Right. Get your cat, Aaron. You might as well.
Anyway, go ahead, Greg.
Come here, Betsy.
What do you think?
Come here.
Anyway, while you get your cat, my thoughts on the match are this: Dean Ambrose's character needs a shot in the arm. I don't know what it is, if it's a heel turn or if it's just him giving a crap. I don't know. His feud with The Miz didn't do anything for me, which is terrible because they're both great performers.
See, you know what? It was doing something for me on SmackDown last year.
It was probably better written on SmackDown.
Probably why.
Think about the Stone Cold podcast. Ever since Stone Cold put Ambrose on trial,
did we get all four of them on camera at the same time?
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
But ever since that Stone Cold podcast and Ambrose was kind of awkward and put on trial, it's everybody's noticing it.
We have a little bushwhacker moment here with Jeff and his dog.
Betsy's a licker. What can I say? Ugh.
Okay, so where were we? We have.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Lay down.
Yeah, my cat. My cat does not
like
being picked up. Otherwise, I keep him in the video. But yeah, my cat's not a fan of being picked up. So, anyways, let's move on here. Get back to the wrestling talk instead of the Animal Planet talk. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. I enjoyed this match. I thought it delivered. I expected it to be very physical. And you had Strowman using the steel steps. You had Reigns using the steel chair, and Strowman no-selling it like a boss and just being this monster. So Strowman ended up picking up the victory here. Roman Reigns. Did you make that same mistake when we did the predictions?
You did that too. Yeah. God. For the predictions too.
You did.
All right. Anyways, Roman Reigns went for the spear. Oh, I forgot to add that Strowman was thrown into the LED stage in that collapse, so we had that big moment. But the finish was Roman Reigns going for the spear, missing, diving into the ambulance, and then Strowman shut the door. Strowman wins, and Roman Reigns decides to what, Jeff?
Wasn't every week on Raw they were saying that you had to drive the ambulance out of the arena to win the match?
I thought it was just you have to shut the doors.
Yeah,
this is what they've done in ambulance matches in the past, but every single week, good old Michael Cole was saying you have to lock the ambulance and drive out of the arena to win the match. All 4 weeks of building this.
Wow. Nobody listens to Cole or pay attention to what he says.
I guess so. Anyway, go ahead.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But anyway,
I wish he was behind the curtain. I had to look at him. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, Roman Reigns, after the match was over, attacked Braun Strowman and put Strowman in the ambulance and then drove off with the ambulance with Strowman inside. They got to the backstage area, and then Roman Reigns proceeded to back the ambulance into the semi-truck, similar to what Shane McMahon did to Kane back in 2003. Roman Reigns, upset that he lost the match here, decided to attempt to murder Braun Strowman. Now, this, under normal circumstances, would come off like a heel turn. And after the match, we had Heath Slater and Kurt Hawkins come out for an impromptu match, which Slater won apparently, but we don't know for sure. We don't know how he won because they were showing the backstage area where the paramedics were coming in to rescue Braun Strowman with the jaws of life. You had Strowman bleeding. He had his elbow bleeding. His face was bleeding. So we had more blood. And Strowman refused to go out on a stretcher. He stumbled away like a babyface, like a good guy, refuses
like
to
a boss.
Like a boss, like I said earlier. He refused to be carried out on a stretcher, and he stumbled himself away from the scene of the crime. So is this a Roman Reigns heel turn? Is this a double turn? Is WWE finally turning Roman Reigns? I'm not convinced yet because I think this could just be WWE's warped way of trying to get fans to cheer Roman Reigns by having him do something heelish so the male fans will cheer him. It's that little reverse psychology thing. I have a feeling it's more of that than an actual double turn, but I'll get your guys' opinions, see what you guys think. We'll start with you, Virtue, and then Jeff, and then Greg. Hopefully I don't forget Greg this time.
I loved it.
How
go ahead.
How about Greg goes second now, but he's not forgotten?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We'll never forget you, Jeff, because you'll make sure you'll speak out if I start to move
exactly.
on.
Big guys doing big guy stuff, and that's what was happening in this match. Braun just 110% given that for a big guy. That guy can get around. Roman, like I've said time and time again, taking his bumps. The finish, it's kind of like, so Roman is a booked babyface and Strowman's the heel, but like the stepping to the side, so Roman dove through that's something a babyface would have tricked a heel into getting into the ambulance. So I was kind of like, yeah. But then the aftermath happened, and I almost thought Vince Russo got his job back with WWE because I was like, this is 1999, and you know what? People are gonna hate me for it. Whatever. I was in heaven. This was what I wanted. I know this stuff should play off on Raw and not a pay-per-view. It did make a little awkwardness going into the main event. But, I mean, let's be honest, dude. To me, that was my era growing up in high school, attitude era. Little things like this, cliffhanger. Now what's happening? Is Roman a heel? Is Strowman a face? Is Strowman going to walk all bloody tomorrow night on Raw looking for Reigns? Cliffhanger, baby. I loved it. Next.
See, it also put me in mind of a couple moments in WWE history. 2002, when Hogan took the semi-truck to the ambulance for The Rock.
Yep.
And after the fact, when Strowman walked away, 97, WrestleMania 13, post-match, Bret Hart and Stone Cold,
Absolutely.
Where Austin refused help to the back. So this could very well be a double turn, and I kind of hope it is. I can't see how WWE can spin this. I'm sure they'll try, but I can't see how they'll spin this where Roman tried to kill somebody. Yay, let's go for him.
Well,
and then they
here's
don't
the
mention
thing.
Chris Rock.
Here's the thing, Greg. Even Corey Graves on commentary said Roman Reigns went too far. So then the announcers were not even defending Reigns.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes heel actions do go too far, and sometimes the heel commentator is like, okay, that oversteps the boundaries of what I believe in. So it's possible still. I mean, as a babyface, like, you shouldn't try to kill the other guy.
Right. So anyways, let's move on to the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. Oh, wait, Jeff has to talk.
Nice try.
Wait, let's not forget, Jeff, before you say what let's not forget Roman's defending his yard.
That's right. Yeah, honestly, even the greatest heel commentator ever, Jesse Ventura, always acknowledged when the bad guys were even that bad. Like, whoa, like that was too much. Yeah, if they do anything but a double turn at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, everybody's going to be just totally crapping on this. Completely, utterly crap fest on this. It's going to be ugly. Greg, you make a good point. How can they spin it the other way? But Aaron makes a good point because WWE knows how to spin things their own way. It's not us in the tower in Connecticut going, okay, how can we do it? It's the evil Machiavellian McMahon going, I will do it my way and the fans will like it. It's just the way it's going to be. I hope that Greg's right, and I pray that Aaron is incorrect on this in this instance.
Yeah.
And also, if you think back to before the Fatal 5-Way, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but Roman was kind of complaining that he had to compete in the match. He was like, I should already be the number one contender. Another heel move saying, I shouldn't have to earn it. I should already have it. But,
well, for all intents and purposes, Reigns has been a bad guy since WrestleMania. There is no greater way to garner heat on you than retiring the best ever. So, for me, he's been edging toward the dark side ever since then.
Yeah, but I think he needs to say something that really seals the deal. Just like when Bret Hart came out after WrestleMania 13 and said the American fans coast to coast can kiss his ass, something like that.
We will see come 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Well, it's definitely...
since we're talking about this now, cheap plug. Go read my column, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. I would normally say this at the end, but since we're talking, that's basically talking about what's just happened.
Right. Yeah, check out Virtue's column. That's on NoDQ.com. And like I've said before, like we finally have a cliffhanger. I've been arguing about this for the longest time now, that we need cliffhangers in wrestling. So we got one, which I'm very happy about. So now that Jeff got his talking out of the way, and I'm sure he'll have more talking here in a minute as he gets his headpiece back on, we have Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe for the Universal title. Brock Lesnar actually wrestled a full-length match for the first time in seemingly forever. I think it's been since SummerSlam, when he had an actual lengthy match. I thought it was a very good match. I mean, it felt like a real fight, which I liked. It had that real fight feeling to it, where it was two guys that were really trying to beat the hell out of each other. It felt like, a real battle between these two superior athletes. You had Samoa Joe attacking Brock Lesnar from behind to kick off the match. You had it going back and forth. Joe would get the submission on. Lesnar would break out of it. Lesnar did the suplexes. Joe would counter that. It went back and forth, but finally Lesnar hit the F5 and won the match. And some people were a bit upset. I'll get your guys' thoughts. Some people on Twitter were upset that it was just one F5 that put Joe away. So overall, I think Joe looked good, but I think he could have looked better. I mean, the fact that he had to jump Brock Lesnar and still lost to one F5, I think Joe looked a little bit weak. I think it could have been worse. It could have been more of a squash, but I still think Joe could have been made to look a little bit stronger in defeat. Just my opinion on it. I still thought it was a very good main event. So, Jeff, we'll start with you, and then Virtue, and then Greg. And I will not forget about Greg.
Before I start, can we get one of those Truman Show standby screens for my house? Because every time I try to do a show with you guys, I get a standby I need to do. I'm sorry about that. She heard something outside. Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, boss man. I just, it was a solid match. Brock had his best match, I think, since the Goldberg loss. I think that was his best match. He did it was very back and forth. They both did very well. But yeah, Joe looked kind of weak at the end there because he just, continued to come back, and then one F5 and it's over. I get they're trying to get the F5 over as the dominant finisher in the game today. But remember, John Cena took 16 suplexes and 2 F5s to win. So what does that say for Joe?
Is it on me now? Whew. I think so. If Joe would have won, everybody would be saying, wow, that was awesome. I think the Lesnar win kind of turned some people's opinions on the match. I loved it. 1 F5, Aaron, but 6, 7, 8 German suplexes? That's wide. That's Lesnar's forte. I actually felt like there were sides. When I was watching this match, I was like, there's indie fans, NXT fans supporting Joe, and there's casuals and UFC fans supporting Lesnar. And I'm watching it, and I like both guys, okay, but for whatever reason, I started pulling for Lesnar because I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I just don't like the hot potato on the belt, and I know Lesnar's never there. We don't see him much, but I think if Joe would have won it already, it's like, dude, Lesnar just beat Goldberg for it. So it was awesome. Purple face Lesnar, you can't get much more real looking than that. I don't know. I think they're going to do this again. What do you think, Greg?
See, I figured the longer the match went, the more chance Brock Lesnar had to win. With Joe jumping him at the beginning and him starting the match, I was like, Joe's going to win this thing in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think they wanted us to think that way too, like with Goldberg.
They did.
And you know what? I actually think the Lesnar-Goldberg match at this past Mania was better because it was hard-hitting for the entire time. There were a couple like little slow moments during the match, but still solid. Main event worthy? You can argue, I guess, but I thought there were better matches on the card than this.
Well, I think the problem is calling a Lesnar match main event worthy. We are spoiled now on longer matches, NXT style matches where they go 15, 20 minutes and the champions have to fight to retain, where Lesnar's in and out in 5 minutes. Like, oh, okay, big deal. So it really depends on your taste, I think, as far as I think it was main event worthy. And I still say it was not maybe better than Brock Goldberg from Mania, but right up there with it.
And I want to take a shout out to David Payne. I told you the ambulance match would be just up. I mean, based on the feedback I'm hearing from you guys, the ambulance match would be right up there, real close to Lesnar and Joe.
It was.
And it was. I told you.
I actually think it beat it.
It did. It totally did.
Especially the post-match.
Well, yeah,
like
the angle, of course, was huge. So I think that's the thing people are going to obviously be talking about the most is the fallout from the ambulance match. But, still very satisfying pay-per-view. I would give it a B. I think it was definitely above average, and it over-delivered for a B show. I felt it definitely was very solid. So, Greg, we'll start with you, and then we'll finish up with Jeff and then Virtue.
Like I said, I think this was probably the second best pay-per-view of the year behind the Rumble. So I'm going to give this, I don't know if I want to give it a B plus or an A minus. Like it was that good. I think I'm going to go on the side of A minus for this show. Like far as overall, like just how important this show felt. And for a show called Great Balls of Fire, which we all mocked incessantly, hashtag WWE balls, it freaking delivered. So, good on WWE for delivering an awesome show tonight.
All right, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was next. Yeah. Okay. I agree with Greg. I was going to say B plus or A minus. I'm gonna fall in line here. A minus for sure. The fact that we have spent whatever it's been 4 weeks just hashtagging WWE balls out of this like crazy. They surprised the heck out of me tonight. They did very well from start to finish, and now we figured out a way how to come up make fun of the SummerSlam hashtag next, because if SummerSlam's got to be the second biggest show of the year, but it's got to outdo this, that's going to be something.
Hashtag Summerfest.
Oh God, that's true. I forgot all about that. Oh my God. See what I get for talking.
Well, Virtue's got to be giving this an A. Oh, he's giving A minus. Okay.
A minus. Yeah, I wish I would have went first. I did not expect any of you. I thought B pluses, but. Good.
No, I'm nice the most grades, negative one of the group.
Nice grades, Greg and Jeff. I loved it. We all agree.
Right.
I'm the most critical one of the group. I said a B.
Okay. Just B, not B plus?
Well, because...
But, normally Aaron's like C, so...
Yeah, a lot of times I give the shows like a C or a C plus. So, this I think... I don't even know if I've given a show a B in our reviews. I'm definitely more critical than you guys when it comes to the shows.
Well, considering the fact that my big comeback was for one of the worst shows of the year, I think this is a much better effort on WWE's part.
I would have had to have had like a home run main event that was like off the charts unbelievable, and maybe a few great matches. I'm not sure if there was really a great match on the show, with the exception of maybe Roman Reigns and Strowman, but I feel like that
What if that ended the show? What if
I thought that was a very good match with a great storyline angle post-match. But I'm not sure if there was any match where I would say, like, this was a match of the year candidate. Just the body of the match itself. So that's why I'm not giving it an A. I'm giving it a B because I think it was a very entertaining show from start to finish. And a B still above average. I would say it's one of the better pay-per-views of the year. and maybe better than WrestleMania as far as just overall enjoyment.
Like I said at the outset, I think for the hype versus the delivery, this show far outdid WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it wasn't 7 hours, which definitely helped.
Oh, Dylan.
It was long, though.
Yeah, Dylan came home from his mom's earlier this week, and I gave him wrestling back as a reward for being good. He watched the entire broadcast over again. I'm sitting in my hero chair just going, "You done? Okay."
Well, that's the thing. The new generation, the kids, maybe they like the 7-hour shows, and we're just
the thing is,
he
was watching the show with his wrestling figures playing, or with his video. He was doing different things. He wasn't
so he's multitasking.
He wasn't just 7 hours like we were at Wade's last year, just going, "Oh my God."
Yeah, we were comatose.
We were comatose for the pre-show, and you weren't because you were so pissed off about losing your hair. But everybody else was like,
I was, but yeah, by the time Reigns and Triple H were out there, we were like, we're done, time for bed.
And then we had to drive home for 3 hours.
That's
coming
true.
home.
That was a challenge.
Dude, Dylan, you remember Dylan just like went in the car, just, he was done. He was over.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Anyways, fun show to review. I'm glad we had a very solid video here with the cats and dogs. I mean, what more can you ask for? This was the Animal Planet edition of
No DQ production at its finest, right there.
Exactly. So hopefully you guys liked it. There were no balls being exposed in this video. I'm sure that will help with the thumbs up ratio. We love you, David Payne. You're great, but that was perhaps one of the more controversial moments in No DQ history. We've
done some serious stuff 15 years, boss, but that was
a true No DQ moment. But anyways, let's get the plugs out real quick before we sign off here. Greg, we'll start with you, and then Virtue, and then good old JM.
Twitter and Instagram at PA Sensation. Took a little bit of a hiatus from TSE. I'm so upset I did, because I did it on Friday before we found out Dixie Carter was going to be on the WWE Network. Right. Austin Aries got released, and AJ Styles won the United States title. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like 5 hours after I announced this, all of this happens.
Yep.
Ridiculous. But you can still follow me. I tweet funny stuff, so check it out.
Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue, and I'm currently beating David Payne with followers by about 25.
And you didn't even have to show your balls to do that. But
nope, let's make that a bigger number.
Also, Virtue has the pictures of over the weekend with Jimmy Hart and Cody, who blocked NoDQ.com's Twitter account because I said that he needed to end the Stardust gimmick, and he, I guess at the time, disagreed with that.
What's funny is you were absolutely right, and look where he is now.
Yeah, well, he's doing really well for himself.
He is arguably the best wrestler in the world right now because he's not with WWE and he's still shining bright in Ring of Honor.
You know what's funny, though? I look back at that tweet, and I was looking at the comments to that tweet, and everyone's saying that Cody's overrated and he sucks, and,
But he's not. He is everything that Dustin wanted to be with or without Goldust with twice as much skill, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think.
Well,
I passed Jerry the King Lawler at that show, and I said, "Hey, Jerry," and he said, "Hi, Virtue." I swear to God. And I only met him in the early mid-2000s in Cleveland a bunch of times. He didn't even know my name was Dave. So he looks at the site or sees something on Twitter.
You know what's weird about that?
My buddy was shocked.
Lawler has my personal account blocked, but not the NoDQ.com account.
It's funny. Shirt. I was wearing the shirt.
It's funny because I've actually talked to Jerry a couple times on the telephone to try to get him on the show, and he said multiple times if it was any other company but WWE, I'd be on the show in a heartbeat.
I don't know. I don't know why he has my personal account blocked. I'm not sure what I said on there to.
Maybe he said something. Maybe he said something when Twitter first started that he didn't like.
I'm on this quest to get blocked by every WWE announcer. Michael Cole blocked No DQ. JBL did, obviously. Blocked all my accounts, including my cat account, the cat's account.
Damn.
I tweeted something out from there, too, about JBL. And then I think Byron Saxton, does he even have a Twitter? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
I don't think he's blocked me. More Ronaldo has not blocked me, but, I haven't said anything bad about
it. Ronaldo retweets everybody, so, I mean...
Moral's awesome. Moral's good people.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. So, but the other guys...
I have two prominent blocks on Twitter. The good old Human Suplex Machine Taz, because of a thing with Joey Ryan years ago. And the biggest D-bag I've met in wrestling, Josh Matthews.
I got him too.
Matthews has a lot of people blocked.
High five, Greg. Blocked by Josh Matthews because he's a douchebag.
Kevin Owens and Ronaldo blocked me. Lance Storm used to, but we're on the same page again.
Nice. Oh, Lance Storm was using the WWE Balls hashtag tonight.
That's why
he reads for material. He reads No DQ, I think, for material for his podcast.
Lance has replied to me on Twitter a few times. He knows who we are.
Well, a lot of people do.
I wonder if he saw the comment in our last video that I people him. So
yeah,
he saw you.
That's it. All right, so plugs for good old JM. First of all, @_ Jeff Meacham, Twitter and Instagram. I think until tomorrow at noon, back in their time zone, 20% off for these Pro Wrestling Tees, guys.
Yeah,
just throwing it out there.
Can I get the old one at that discount? You still got the old shirt up there?
It's still on there.
That's up there. This shirt's up there. And if anyone wants to buy a Talk Wrestling shirt, please.
You guys should get a Talk Wrestling shirt, Virtue, if you're going to get one.
Anniversary, baby. All right. And a week from tonight, on the No DQ, almost said No DQ YouTube channel, the 10th anniversary of Talk Wrestling. I'm going to have everybody's questions. I may bring in a guest or two, just kind of bring them in. I actually have a aspiring female wrestler I want to introduce to the world. She's going to be on Talk Wrestling to kind of go over her biography and whatnot. She's going to go to Ohio to, I think, to train with Al Snow. I think she's going with. So we're going to bring her in. Her stage name is Jexy. That's all I'm going to say for now.
Okay, cool.
So we'll see her on Talk Wrestling. But yeah, I invite anybody @_ Jeff Meacham on Twitter. There's a post on Instagram as well where I put the logo up. Send me questions. I will be on as long as you guys give me material. I'll be on all day.
I gotta send you a question, Jeff. I gotta send you something.
Dude, you know what? You're gonna help me record part of it anyway. You might as well just ask me on the air.
Sure, why not?
Why not? I mean, you're gonna be recording the thing with Jexy, so you might as well just you know what? Maybe we have Aaron interview me for once. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah, we'll have to come up with something good for the 10th anniversary of Talk Wrestling.
We got all week to talk about it, brother.
And of course, August 16th is No DQ video episode number 1000. So
it is. We got to make sure we get everybody involved on that too. #Road to No DQ 1000 on Twitter. You know, ask Aaron anything. He'll answer almost anything. And if he doesn't like it on the video, he'll answer on Twitter. So either way, he answers.
Exactly. So thank you guys for being on tonight. And this was a lot of fun. We will see you guys next time. A big week coming up on NoDQ.com and a big month coming up with SummerSlam, No DQ Video 1000 and all that good stuff. And I'm sure Mr. Payne will be back this week with another pop. Stay tuned for all that. We will see you guys next time.